Life is too short to spend your energy chasing people who don't see your worth. One of the greatest acts of self-respect is choosing people who choose you, those who value your presence, respect your time, and uplift your spirit. We often waste years convincing people to like us, trying to prove ourselves to someone who barely acknowledges our efforts. But real connections never demand begging. Love, friendship, support, when they are real, they come willingly, not conditionally. Imagine investing in someone who wouldn't invest even a minute. That's not loyalty, that's self-neglect. You deserve to be surrounded by people who celebrate your victories, stand by you in struggles, and see your potential when you can't see it yourself. Life becomes lighter when you're not constantly proving yourself. Your energy is sacred. Spend it wisely. Stop reopening closed doors. If someone left your life, let them. If someone treats you like you're optional, remove them from your priority list. You don't need an army. You need a few real ones who will walk with you, not just when things are easy, but when the road gets hard. You are not too much. You are not too little. You are just right for the right people. So choose people who make you feel safe, seen, and supported. Choose the ones who don't question your presence because they know your value. That's how you build a life full of meaning, peace, and purpose, by surrounding yourself with people who truly choose you. Stop clinging to relationships that drain you. If someone constantly disrespects your time, energy, or emotions, you owe it to yourself to walk away. Self-worth means knowing when someone no longer deserves a seat at your table. Approval is temporary and inconsistent. When you constantly seek to be validated by others, you lose yourself. Instead, align yourself with people who naturally resonate with your values, who accept you without pretense or performance. Healthy connections are two-way streets. If you're the only one calling, supporting, or showing up, it's not mutual, it's emotional labor. It's emotional labor. The people who choose you will meet you halfway without needing to be reminded or begged. The easiest thing in life is to have people around during the good times. But pay attention to who stays during your breakdowns, failures, and silent battles. The ones who choose you during storms are the ones who truly care. We often try to force old relationships back into our lives, hoping things will be different. But if someone has walked away or continuously hurt you, their departure is a form of redirection. Closure isn't always about answers. It's about peace. You are not too sensitive, too loud, too ambitious, or too emotional. You're just not meant for people who can't appreciate your depth. The right people will never ask you to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. A few genuine people are worth more than hundreds of shallow connections. Focus on building bonds that feel safe, honest, and uplifting. One loyal soul can outweigh the noise of many indifferent ones. When you choose people who don't choose you, you send a message that your time and presence can be taken for granted. Set boundaries. Raise your standards. You are not here to be an option. You are here to be chosen, respected, and loved. One of the hardest yet most empowering things you can do in life is to recognize when it's time to walk away from people who no longer serve your growth or respect your presence. Too often, we stay in relationships, whether romantic, friendly, or professional, out of habit, guilt, or the fear of being alone. But staying in a space where you're not valued chips away at your self-esteem little by little. The more you tolerate being overlooked, dismissed, or disrespected, the more you begin to internalize the idea that this is all you deserve. But the truth is, you deserve so much more. Valuing yourself means realizing that your time, energy, and emotional availability are precious resources. It means understanding that constantly trying to prove your worth to people who are indifferent or toxic is a waste of the beautiful person you are. When you choose to walk away, it's not a sign of weakness. It's an act of deep strength and clarity. It's saying, I know my worth, and I refuse to shrink myself to fit into places that were never built to hold me. People who care about you will show it through consistent actions, not just convenient words. You shouldn't have to keep explaining your value or justifying your presence. If you're not being seen, heard, or appreciated where you are, then that place is not aligned with your self-respect. Walking away allows space for better things to come, for healthier people to enter your life, and for your own personal healing to take center stage. It's a courageous declaration that you are no longer available for anything less than sincerity, effort, and mutual respect. Chasing approval is an exhausting and never-ending cycle. When your sense of worth depends on how others perceive you, you begin to shapeshift, changing your words, your actions, even your dreams, just to fit into molds that were never made for you. You start filtering your personality, dimming your light, and compromising your values for a momentary nod of validation. But the truth is, approval is fleeting. People's opinions are inconsistent and often based on their own insecurities, biases, or moods. What they praise you for today, they might criticize tomorrow. That's why approval should never be your compass. Instead, seek alignment, genuine resonance between your inner values and the people you allow into your life. Alignment isn't about pleasing others. It's about being fully yourself and finding those who naturally respect, understand, and support that version of you. When you seek alignment, you no longer have to perform or pretend. You feel safe to be honest, to be imperfect, to be vulnerable, because the people around you accept you without conditions. Approval makes you anxious. Alignment brings peace. Approval demands performance. Alignment invites authenticity. And the more you chase approval, the further you drift from your true self. When you start focusing on alignment, you begin to attract relationships that are rooted in truth, not obligation, not convenience, but mutual respect and shared values. You stop tolerating superficial interactions and start valuing deep, meaningful connections that feed your soul rather than starve your spirit. In any healthy and lasting relationship, whether it's a friendship, partnership, or family bond, mutual effort is not a bonus, it's a necessity. A relationship built on one-sided effort is like a plant watered on only one side. It will slowly begin to wither. When you are the only one reaching out, checking in, making plans, or offering support, you're not in a relationship. You're in a situation where your energy is being taken but not returned. And over time, that imbalance starts to weigh you down emotionally and mentally. True relationships thrive when both people are equally invested. It doesn't mean things are always perfectly balanced, but it does mean that both sides are willing to show up, to care, and to communicate. Real connections are maintained through shared responsibility. Yeah, there should be a natural rhythm, a give and take that flows with mutual respect and interest. If you're the one always initiating contact, always being there when they need you, but rarely receiving the same in return, it's a red flag that your presence is being taken for granted unto you. Effort can be expressed in small ways. A simple message to check in, remembering important dates, offering help without being asked, or just genuinely listening when the other person speaks. These gestures may seem minor, but they're the threads that keep relationships strong. When someone truly values you, they don't leave it to chance. You will feel their effort. They'll want to be present, not just when it's convenient for them, but because they genuinely care about your well-being. What makes a relationship meaningful is the shared willingness to grow together, to face challenges side by side, and to build trust through consistent action. It should never feel like you're carrying the weight of it all alone. Your energy, your time, and your heart are too precious to be invested in someone who sees your effort as an obligation rather than a privilege. It's easy to find people to celebrate with you when life is going well. When you're achieving, smiling, and shining, you'll notice many people drawn to your light. But the real test of a relationship lies not in your victories, but in your valleys. The people who genuinely choose you are the ones who show up when life becomes dark, messy, and uncertain. They don't disappear when you're struggling, and they don't stay silent when you're hurting. Instead, they offer their presence, not just with words, but with action, empathy, and care. Our times reveal true loyalty. The people who truly care don't wait for you to ask for help. They notice when something's off, and they reach out. They listen without judgment, stand by you without conditions, and never make you feel like a burden for being human. These are the people who sit with you in silence when you can't speak, who encourage you when you can't see your own strength, and who remind you of your worth when the world makes you question it. Being present during someone's lows doesn't require grand gestures, it's often about consistency. A message asking how you're doing, a phone call to check in, a quiet presence that offers comfort without needing to fix everything. These actions show that someone genuinely sees you, not just for what you can offer, but for who you are, even when you're broken. In contrast, those who distance themselves or go silent when things get hard are revealing their true colors. Support in times of struggle isn't optional in real relationships, it's foundational. You deserve relationships that aren't built only around your success or happiness, but ones that also endure your tears, failures, and moments of doubt. Because when someone chooses you during your lowest, they're not just showing compassion, they're proving their loyalty, their depth, and their place in your life. One of the most emotionally draining habits we develop is the tendency to revisit people and situations that have already shown us they're not meant for our future. We cling to memories, to a what ifs, and to the hope that something might magically change if we just try one more time. But the truth is, when a door has closed, when someone has walked away, disrespected you, or continuously chosen everything but you, it's not your job to force it back open. Reopening closed doors only invites more pain, more confusion, and more delay in your healing. Holding on to people who have already let go of you is not strength, it's self-sabotage. It often stems from our fear of the unknown, of being alone, or of starting over. But staying attached to the past keeps you from stepping into the future. People leave your life for a reason. Whether it was a betrayal, neglect, or simple incompatibility, the message is clear. That chapter has ended. Rewinding and rereading it over and over doesn't change the ending. It just robs you of the peace and progress you could be creating. Sometimes we romanticize the past, remembering only the highlights and ignoring the hurt. We convince ourselves that maybe it wasn't that bad, maybe they didn't mean it, maybe things will be different now. But history often repeats itself when lessons are ignored, not? If someone didn't value you before, and they haven't shown any real growth or remorse, going back to them won't heal the original wound, it will deepen it. Letting go is not about bitterness, it's about acceptance. It's about choosing your own mental and emotional well-being over false hope. It's about closing the chapter not with anger, but with wisdom. You can forgive and still move on. You can miss someone and still not let them back in. Reopening a closed door often leads to the same pain in a different form, because the foundation was never strong to begin with. So many people go through life feeling like they're too much, because they've been made to feel that way by those who were never capable of appreciating them. Too emotional, too sensitive, too passionate, too intense, labels often used by people who couldn't handle the depth and authenticity you bring to the table. But being a too much is not a flaw. It's a reflection of your richness as a human being. The problem isn't you, it's the people who lack the emotional range to meet you where you are. You are not too loud, you just speak with conviction. You're not too ambitious, you simply refuse to settle. You're not too honest, you believe in truth over pretense. You're not too kind, you lead with empathy in a world that often discourages it. Yet, when you surround yourself with people who are emotionally unavailable, insecure, or shallow, they will interpret your authenticity as a threat. They'll try to dim your light because it shines too brightly next to their comfort zone. Trying to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's small vision of who you should be will slowly erode your sense of self. You'll start second-guessing your instincts, apologizing for your feelings, and suppressing your strengths. And for what? To be accepted by people who only understand surface-level connection? You are not made to be edited to please others. The right people won't see you as a too much. They'll see you as refreshing, real, and rare. Letting go of the idea that you must tone yourself down is an act of self-liberation. It's choosing to take up space unapologetically. It's embracing your depth, your fire, your softness, your strength, all of it without feeling guilty, because the people who are truly meant for you will never ask you to be less. They will meet you with open hearts, open minds, and an appreciation for all the layers that make you who you are. In a world obsessed with numbers, follow accounts, social circles, networking events, it's easy to fall into the illusion that the more people you have around you, the more valuable or loved you are. But true connection has never been about quantity. It has always been about depth, trust, and sincerity. 10 shallow friendships will never replace the value of one genuine, loyal, and emotionally safe connection. When it comes to the people you allow into your life, more doesn't mean better. In fact, too many surface-level relationships can leave you feeling lonelier than being alone. The people who truly matter in your life are those who see you in your rawest form and choose to stand beside you anyway. They don't just show up for the celebrations, they stick around during the storms. You don't have to filter your emotions, hide your pain, or pretend to be okay around them. They know you and they stay. These are the people who check in without being asked, who remember the little things that matter to you, who speak to you with honesty and kindness, and who want to grow with you, not compete with you. When you prioritize quality, you start to recognize the difference between being surrounded and being supported. Being in a crowded room doesn't mean you're emotionally connected to anyone in it. True connection feels like peace. It doesn't exhaust you, it fills you. It doesn't make you question your worth, it reminds you of it. Quality relationships are built on mutual effort, mutual respect, and mutual growth. They take time to nurture, but their impact lasts far longer than any temporary interaction. Choosing quality also means being okay with outgrowing people. Just because someone has been in your life for years doesn't mean they deserve a permanent spot. Loyalty is not about duration, it's about consistency, support, and honesty. It's better to have a few people you can truly count on than to constantly feel unseen and unsupported by many. When you focus on quality relationships, you protect your emotional energy, create space for real love, and build a life rooted in meaningful connection rather than performative closeness. Whether you realize it or not, every interaction you have is silently teaching people how they are allowed to treat you. Your boundaries, or lack of them, send signals about what you'll tolerate. When you allow someone to disrespect your time, speak to you harshly, dismiss your feelings, or only show up when it benefits them, and you continue to stay without addressing it, you're unconsciously giving permission for that behavior to continue. And over time, that pattern becomes your reality. You may think you're being kind, patient, or understanding by letting things slide. But in truth, you're setting a precedent that your needs are secondary, that your feelings are negotiable, and that you're willing to accept less than what you deserve. People will always push limits to see where the line is drawn, and if you never draw one, they'll assume you have none. That's why it's crucial to recognize that self-respect is not just a feeling, it's a practice. It shows up in the way you speak up when something doesn't sit right with you, the way you protect your peace, and the way you remove yourself from situations that no longer align with your worth. Teaching people how to treat you begins with how you treat yourself. If you constantly put yourself last, overextend to please others, or silence your own voice to avoid conflict, you're sending the message that your comfort and dignity can be compromised. On the other hand, when you carry yourself with clarity, communicate your limits clearly, and stand firm in what you will and will not accept, people learn to either rise to that standard or remove themselves, and either outcome serves your peace, and either outcome serves. Boundaries aren't walls to keep others out. They're guidelines to protect what's within. The people who genuinely care about you will respect those boundaries, not resist them. When you teach people, through action, not just words, that your time, your heart, and your energy are sacred, you stop attracting those who only take and start aligning with those who give back. Life is far too precious to be spent trying to earn a place in someone's heart. You deserve to be surrounded by people who don't make you question your worth, who don't require constant reminders to respect you, and who don't vanish when things get hard. Choose people who choose you, not out of convenience, but out of genuine love, loyalty, and connection. Protect your peace, honor your heart, and never settle for being someone's afterthought. Because when you finally start choosing those who choose you, you stop chasing, you start healing, and most importantly, you start thriving.